I've seen comments on my nice guy videos that say things like, "You are doing nothing wrong being a nice guy. People suck and those people should have appreciated you and treated you better. You shouldn't have felt like you needed a change." And I get it. I really do. When I look back at my own nice guy years, there's a part of me that thinks the same thing. I was trying to be considerate. I was putting other people's needs first. I was avoiding conflict and trying to make everyone else happy. In a lot of ways, those seem like good qualities, right? But here's what I've learned, both from my own experience and from years of working with men professionally. That thinking, I shouldn't have to change, other people should just treat me better, will keep you stuck indefinitely. The most useful question you can ask yourself is, do I want to focus on being right about how the world should work, or do I actually want my life to improve? You can't have it both ways. Now let me be clear about what I mean when I say nice guy, because this gets confused sometimes. I'm not talking about men who are genuinely kind, authentic, and considerate. Those are great qualities. I'm talking about nice guy syndrome, a pattern where you're overly accommodating, conflict avoidant, and giving with the unconscious expectation that it will earn you love, respect, or what you want from others. And if you've been following this channel, you know I spent years being the classic nice guy in this sense. Always saying yes when I wanted to say no, avoiding any conversation that might create tension, giving and giving, hoping people would eventually reciprocate. And when they didn't, I'd feel resentful and confused about why my strategy wasn't working. And here's the hard truth I eventually had to face. And this one stung. A lot of my niceness wasn't actually kindness. Now, some of it was, but some of it was manipulation. Not in some intentional or malicious way, but in that unconscious, if I'm good enough, you'll love me kind of way. I was trying to get my needs met, connection, appreciation, peace, etc., without ever directly asking for it. And that's not honesty. I thought I was being kind, but I was just afraid to be real. The difference between a nice guy and a genuinely kind man is that the kind man has boundaries, is authentic about his needs, and gives because he wants to, not because he's trying to get something in return, even unconsciously. And let's be honest, most of us didn't become nice guys by accident. Somewhere along the way, usually early in life, we learned that being fully ourselves wasn't safe, that our needs were a burden, that if we upset people, love might be taken away, or that we would be judged somehow. So we adapted. We became compliant, agreeable, and hyper-attuned to what others wanted from us. And it worked until it didn't. So I understand the frustration when someone suggests that you need to change. It feels unfair. You're probably thinking, hey, I'm the one being considerate here. I'm the one making sacrifices. Why should I have to be different? Drop a comment below and let me know if you felt that way. I want to hear from you. Here's the thing though, and this took me a long time to understand in my own life, even though I could see it easily in other people's lives. When we focus on what other people should do differently, we give away all of our power to change our situation. Think about it this way. It's like trying to cut a straight line with a circular saw and getting frustrated every time it goes crooked. Maybe the blade isn't perfect. Maybe the wood has knots in it. Sure. But if you don't know how to guide the saw steadily, keep your stance balanced, and control the pressure, that cut is going to drift every single time. You can keep blaming the saw, the wood, or the workshop conditions. Or you can focus on steadying your hand, improving your technique, and mastering the fundamentals. One approach keeps you stuck with the same crooked cuts. The other actually changes your results. And it's the same with how you approach your relationships. You have limited time and energy. You can spend it cursing the conditions, which doesn't mean that you're wrong. You can blame other people, wait for them to treat you better, hope they finally notice your effort, or you can use that energy to develop yourself, to build the awareness, confidence, and emotional skills that actually change your results, no matter who you're dealing with. And by the way, choosing to work on yourself doesn't mean you're letting anyone else off the hook for their bad behavior. It just means you're done being a passive victim of the situation. You're in control now. So the first approach, trying to change others, has a terrible success rate. I mean, honestly, How often have you actually succeeded in getting someone to fundamentally change how they treat you just by being nicer to them? How often has hoping and waiting for appreciation actually resulted in the recognition you wanted? The second approach, working on yourself, has a much higher success rate. And here's why that matters so much. In relationships, we really have a few choices. We can try to change or fix the other person. We can stay quiet and tolerate what's not working. I did that for years. Or we can focus on ourselves, on how we're showing up, what we're accepting, and whether we're even being honest with ourselves. And when you shift your focus inward, 3 things start to happen and they change everything. First, you become much less needy and feel confident on your own, even when you're not in a relationship. This is huge because neediness is like relationship repellent. When you're desperate for someone else's validation or approval, you make decisions from a place of fear rather than strength. You settle for less than you deserve because you're afraid of being alone. But when you've done the work on yourself, when you know who you are and what you bring to the table, being single doesn't feel like a crisis. It feels like a choice. And that completely changes how you show up in dating and relationships. Second, if you're already in a relationship, you become much more aware of what works for you and what doesn't, what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. And this isn't about becoming demanding or difficult. It's about developing clear boundaries based on self-respect rather than fear. When you know your own worth, you stop accepting behavior that doesn't align with how you want to be treated. And instead of suppressing your needs or frustrations and letting them leak out sideways in tension or withdrawal, which is exactly what will happen, you learn to express them clearly, calmly, and directly. That's not just healthier, it's more effective. Just beware though, if you're in a romantic relationship, when you start standing up for yourself, it's either going to get better or it'll probably end. It's not likely to stay the same. And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, but you need to be aware of this. Third, you develop genuine self-respect. You start coming from a place of strength and abundance rather than fear and lack. And this changes everything about how you interact with people. When you're operating from strength, you're not constantly scanning for signs of either approval or rejection. You're not walking on eggshells, afraid that one wrong move will make someone leave. You're not giving endlessly, hoping it will somehow earn you the love and respect you want. Instead, you're showing up as yourself, your actual self, not the version you think other people want to see. So that's what happens when you stop trying to change others and start building yourself. You become stronger, clearer, and more grounded, and that completely changes the kind of relationships you allow into your life. And if you're getting value from this so far, please support the channel by liking the video. Thank you. This is basic psychology. We can only change our own behavior. We can't control how others respond to us, but we can control how we show up, what we accept, and how we respond to their behavior. Studies consistently show that people with an internal locus of control believe that their own actions shape their outcomes, so they focus on what they can change about themselves rather than feeling helpless or blaming outside forces when things go wrong. They tend to be happier, more successful in relationships, and more resilient when facing challenges. They also report higher levels of self-esteem and lower levels of anxiety and depression. Why? Because they're not constantly at the mercy of other people's moods, decisions, or approval. They know their power lies in how they respond, not in waiting for others to change. Now, I want to be clear about what this doesn't mean. Working on yourself doesn't mean accepting abuse or mistreatment. It doesn't mean becoming a doormat or blaming yourself for other people's bad behavior. It means becoming the kind of person who doesn't attract or tolerate that behavior in the first place. It means developing the self-awareness to recognize unhealthy patterns early and the self-respect to walk away from situations that aren't serving you. It means building a life so fulfilling and authentic that you're not desperate for anyone else's approval or validation to feel okay about yourself. So, yes, in an ideal world, maybe people would have appreciated your nice guy tendencies. Maybe they should have treated you better. But we don't live in an ideal world, and waiting for other people to change is a strategy that will keep you stuck indefinitely. The most powerful thing you can do for yourself and for all of your relationships is to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, to develop self-awareness, to work on your blind spots, to build genuine confidence and self-respect. When you do that, the people who are capable of healthy relationships will respond positively. And the people who are only interested in what they could get from you will move on. Both outcomes are wins, even if one doesn't feel like it at first. And based on my experience, I believe the work is worth it. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Have you experienced this shift from external focus to internal focus? How has it changed your relationships? And if you're getting value from content like this, subscribe to the channel. I create videos for guys who are ready to stop waiting for the world to change and start building the life they actually want. I'll see you in the next one.